I don't even know where to start with you.
Oh, really? Well, I know exactly where to start with you. Hey, what's up guys, the name is Mr. O360 and welcome back to yet another tutorial. This episode will cover the scout role in MVM, so let's hop straight into it. So, the first step is the scout missions. Now, what exactly do I mean when I say scout missions? Well, I'm basically summing up what missions / operations the scout is needed on. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the scout is needed on all of them. He can't be left out in one of them if you want to be successful. And why is he so essential? Well, we'll get to that later. But even so, he is needed on all of the missions. So, to start it off with, basically, how you look, that doesn't matter at all. You won't get better, you won't get noticed more than if you look better, because when you're in MVM, everybody's too busy to notice how somebody looks. Maybe when they're about to upgrade or they're about to press ready, they might notice you're Australian. Or maybe you're unusual, but this won't get you anywhere. So let's just get started with the actual loadout, the reason why you're here. So let's start with the primary. Basically, your primary doesn't really matter a whole lot. You can use your scattergun, you can use your force in nature, you can use your shortstop like I'm doing, or you can use your soda popper. But I would advise you not to use the babyface blaster, because this thing will slow you the hell down. And as a scout in MVM, you need to be fast. So babyface blaster, don't use it. Just don't. For your secondary, you need a mad milk. Now I'm using a mutated milk, but that's basically a reskin, as a lot of TF2 players know. So basically, just get this one, if you don't have this one. So they don't do much difference, they're doing the same. And now for the melee weapon. And the melee weapon should be a fan of war, because what this thing does is that when it hits you, they gain a mini crit on the enemy that it hit. So say for instance that you're fighting a giant robot. You just threw milk at him, he's running slow and your enemies are shooting at him, and then you hit him with this. And then your allies get a mini crit every time they hit that giant robot. And that way he dies easier. So that is very essential to use. Now I know a lot of people say that the Sandman can also be used for this. And I know that can happen. But for that, you would actually need to hit that robot with your baseball. And that might be okay for some. But even though, it's a little bit hard at the same time. So I would suggest that you use the Fan of War, because then it's easy and you can do it faster and again and again and again. So, in my opinion, you should use the Fan of War.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
So, two of the main objectives for Scout in a Man Up are 1. Money. 2. Support. I'm gonna start with money first. The Scout, he is basically a money magnet. His job is to collect the money that's being left out in the battlefield while everybody else have killed robots. The reason why the Scout is collecting money instead of somebody else is as following. When he collects the money, he gains health. And he can quickly run away before he maybe gets killed, or until somebody is supposed to do something. And that leaves me to the support. How can Scout support? Well, like I showed you in the clip when it came down to the Fan of War, he can throw Mad Milk at the enemies, and that's very effective because 1, it will slow them down, 2, your allies will gain health every time they hit. And the third, as I showed you with the clip originally, he uses the Fan of War to make the enemies weaker. And if you're fighting a giant scout, that is when it's absolutely needed. So, those are the objectives for Scout.
Basically, kind of a big deal.
So, for this upgrades to Scout, there are a few of them that are very essential to get at first. So you're supposed to start with 800 here. And what you use with those 800, you use 200 on the Mad Milk, then you move over to yourself and use 200 on movement speed. After that, you upgrade everything on jump height. That's the first round. But after that, you basically just upgrade all the movement speed, and then you move over to resistance. The only resistance you shouldn't get is the fire resistance, because basically that's not going to do anything for you. Plus, when you pick up money, you basically take the fire out. So fire resistance, it's good, but you can survive without. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll upload some more later. And if you have a different method about the Scout, please post them in the link below. See you next time.